Hello everyone, and welcome to the Dice Commando YouTube channel. I'm Andrew, with you here as always. This is Go Again, a fabulous video cast covering the trading card game Flesh and Blood. This video and others like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. Please show your support with a like and subscribe, and be sure to hit the bell notification icon so you don't miss any new videos. If you want to get involved with the channel, consider becoming a channel member. There are many benefits to channel membership, including access to our Discord, exclusive deck tech and strategy videos, and the opportunity to help create channel content. I want to sincerely thank all our channel members, as I truly couldn't do this without your support. You guys rock. Go Commando. So I have a stack of Runechants, but I'm going to hold off on my attack and try and build some more. Alright, I made a few more Runechants. Can I attack yet? Alright, I made 3 more Runechants. Can I attack yet? Alright, I made 5 Runechants. I can certainly attack now, right? Okay, seriously, I'm about out of health. It's about time to go. Okay, seriously, I've got a bunch of Runechants, and it's kind of like now or never. Hey everyone, just having a little fun there. Thanks for joining me today on Dice Commando. Go Again, a fabulous cast. I'm Andrew with you here as always, and today we are talking Runeblade OTK specifically for Blitz. We'll talk about why specifically for Blitz in a second. But for those of you not familiar with the term OTK, what it stands for is one turn kill. And basically what that means is, in a normal game you're going to be dealing damage every turn or every other turn or something like that, trying to whittle it down over the course of the game. And in an OTK, a one-turn kill, what you're really doing is you're saving up for just one massive, huge blow that's meant to take your opponent out in that turn. And also, just to be sure everyone's on the same page, right? OTK is not the same as, it doesn't mean that you're trying to do it in the first turn, right? Or the first round, right? What it means is that you are, over the course of the game, going to be building up your, think of it in terms of like some of your like old Command and Conquers or something like that, right? You're turtling, you're building, and then you just sweep through your opponent, in one fell swoop with mammoth tanks or, whatever your, game weapon of choice may be, right? But you're going to turtle up, you're going to build, and then you're just going to lash out with one huge, massive hit. And that's really what works well for Runeblade and Blitz. It's what's shown to work well. And specifically, I kind of want to talk about why it works well for Runeblade, why that's kind of the preferred way of choice, or at least I think that's the preferred way of choice for Runeblade. And it really boils down to the fact that Runeblade's fundamental, I won't say fundamental problem, but its fundamental challenge in front of it is that each rune chant, when it pops, is its own separate source of damage. Right? So what that means is that your opponent, with one piece of null, null rune hood, whatever, right, with one piece of equipment, they can drop a 3-pitch and generate 3 to block 3 of your Runechants, right? Because each is a separate source, so you can keep using it over and over and over again. And that creates a lot of problems for you. One, it takes you it takes you a fair amount of work to generate those Runechants. You're putting in some sort of resources, like, in a lot of cases using cards. And then you're, of course, spending the card to make the attack. And they can spend a card from hand, but it's a pitch card, so it actually goes back in their deck. So that's one of the things that Runeblade has really faced, is it's kind of easy to block those single ping chants. And it doesn't take your opponent, your opponent doesn't really lose much in terms of resources aside from the card in their hand to do that. So that's been one of the challenges that they faced. So kind of the Runeblade basic strategy to get around that is, instead of sending out 2 to 3 Runechant pings per turn, you instead save up all your Runechant pings and throw it all at one time. Right? So the kind of the key piece to this is, the card that we affectionately call Birthday Cake, but it's Ninth Blade of the Blood Oath. Ninth Blade of Blood Oath costs 1 less to play for each Runechant you control, so it costs 9, but hits for 9. So the idea being that if you have 9 Runechants out there, you can even throw it for 3, or maybe 1, or whatever, right? But the idea being that, I don't think I really need to explain much the idea. I mean, this is the centerpiece, right? You're just going to do everything you can to generate Runechants. You're going to live as long as you can to get as many as you can. And then as soon as you have this card ready to go, boom, 1 hit, and see if your opponent can deal with it. So, to this end, I talk about, why are we talking about this specifically for Blitz? To be honest, what it really boils down to is just the fact that in Blitz, worst case scenario right now, you have to deal 20 health to kill your opponent. And in a standard construction game, looking at double that, you're not really going to one turn kill, because you're probably going to have to do it once or at least twice, if not 3 times. So it's different strategy there. Whereas you can generate, using this strategy, you can certainly generate 20. It's a lot harder to do it with 40, right? Not impossible. You certainly could, but like I said, it's just a more reasonable strategy to have the conversation around in Blitz. So that's why we're focusing in on Blitz today. So, to that end, the Blitz into 2021 top 8 deck. Again, this was done by Mighty Ape. Thank you guys for uploading that. And I want to go ahead and look at this deck real quick. Now we've already talked about the deck in previous episodes, but really want to focus in on some of the choices to kind of speak to how this strategy works. If you look at certain, I'm showing the list now. If you look at certain cards in there, you're looking at Eminence, Enchanting Melody. You're looking at Sigil of Solace. Looking at Sunkiss, right? Cards that are, they don't do anything to your opponent. They just help you live and they help you survive. And meaning you're surviving while you're building up. I mean, you're turtling. I mean, that's the best way to say it, right? You're turtling up. So, it makes sense the way this build works. It's just literally just survive while you produce your Runechants. And there's a lot of there's a lot of ways to produce Runechants, but you of course have to be very, very careful, right? Because let's just actually take a second and read the Runechant itself, right? When you play an attack action card or attack with a weapon, destroy Runechant and deal 1 arcane damage to target opposing hero. That is not a may. It happens. So if you swing with your blade, if you drop an attack action, they all pop. So you have to literally spend your game not attacking to make sure that you can actually store these up. And then you actually start running into how are we going to generate our Runechants? You have some pretty no-brainer cards, like you have Read the Runes. Yeah, that's one's fantastic, right? Read the Runes says create 3 Runechants, does not have go again or anything like that, but it's doing what you want, which is creating 3 Runechants. So there's 3 damage. You also have the fantastic defense reaction, which also helps keep you alive, reduced to Runechant. For 1, costs 1 less to play for each Runechant you control, so it's probably coming out for free in this strategy. And it actually defends, the red pitch version defends for 4, and it still poops out a Runeblade token. So not bad there. Now, moving on to kind of what I think is the big question is, how big do I have to be in order to, how many do I have, how big does my stack have to be? How much damage do I have to do or have stocked up before I take that swing, right? Think about it this way, right? They're going to have their full health. So sure, it'll vary by game, but let's just say 20, right? Because that's most of them out there. I mean, some are 17, some are 19, whatever, right? But let's just assume we're playing a 20 health character. I think that you need, so that fatal blow that you take needs to be their full health plus whatever they can defend for. I mean, right, this is not high level strategy, right? It's just basic math. If we want to take that shot needs to be roughly 32. And the reason I say 32 is because you need to have, right, if your opponent has 4 cards in hand, which 99% of the time they will after they go, your average card can generate 3. And maybe the average is lower than that, but again, you're taking the shot, and if you miss, you have to start over, and you probably aren't going to live. So you need to make sure that shot lands. So you have to kind of budget, not uber worst case scenario, but you have to budget pretty bad case scenario for yourself. In that case, right, class specific cards block for 3 in terms of the actual damage. You're swinging for 9, so they are going to be able to, at the very minimum, block 3 of that. And then, of course, you can assume that they have 4 cards that all have 3 pitch value. Now, again, they probably don't, but they could, which means that they could block 12 of your tokens. So, and I grant you, there are scenarios out there in which they could certainly generate more than 12 defense in some fashion. But again, you don't know exactly what it is. So I think if you estimate that you have to generate about an additional 12 for their defend, I think that's about right. So that puts you in the low 30s to 32, 33, somewhere around there range, depending on how else the game has gone. And don't forget, of course, they have Arsenal, but they can't pitch. They have to play from Arsenal, right? So you keep that into account. And generally, if they're playing from Arsenal, unless it's something like a springboard, then they have to pay for it, right? But it's something big in terms of defense. So again, there's no hard and fast rule there, but it does. I do believe that it's somewhere in the 32 to 33. So now you have to go back to the list and start really doing the counting of where are all these runes coming from. Because remember, we're hitting for 9 with Birthday Cake. That means we need to generate roughly 22 to 23 Runechants, right? So how are we going to do this? Well, we only have 2 red Read the Runes. There's 6. We can play the other Read the Runes. That's about 12. Got other ways. Okay, that gets us to about 15, 16, maybe even the high teens just by doing card effects. But at some point, it becomes inevitable that we have to go back to Viserai, right? Remember his ability. Whenever you play a Runeblade card, if you have played another non-attack action card this turn, create a Runechant token. So what we're really looking at here is playing some sort of Stay Alive or Healing card or something like that, grabbing our Go Again, and then playing our non-attack Runeblade card, right? Because remember, if it's an attack, we start popping our tokens. So you've got to somehow do a healing or some sort of setup into your Runeblade card to generate your tokens, and then you get an extra token out of that, right? And to that end, we see in this list here that there are plenty of non-attack actions that have Go Again to help facilitate that. Your best tool of which, of course, being Mordred Tide. Until end of turn, if you would create a Runechant token and said create that many +1. So if you're doing that into something else, you get the 1 plus the extra for Viserai, then you get whatever you generated plus the extra 1. That'll help you pump out those rune tokens much faster. So like this is certainly not easy. Now I do want to give major shout out to the guy who played this, like freaking fantastic job. I'd love to see it in action, but talking about this deck, I think this is the right way. Well, clearly it top 8'd, right? But I think clearly this is the right way to play Runeblade because like I mentioned at the very beginning of this, that's how you get around kind of the fundamental challenge that Runeblade has already faced. So that's the general idea behind Runeblade OTK, and kind of I think how you play it. Now I'm not going to propose a list because we already have a very, very good list that's demonstrated its ability to play that, but there's certainly a high skill cap. That's a generic statement in this game for sure, but there's certainly a high skill cap in learning how to do that. But I know there are a lot of Runeblade players out there who have a lot of reps of stuff like this, and they're probably getting it all figured out. So anyway, that's it for the chat today. Just wanted to chat about, talk about the Runeblade OTK deck. I think it's really brilliant how that's developed because, realistically, when we first saw Runeblade, like when I first saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be really, really good. And I think, once we saw Runeblade kind of in practice, originally trying to play it with that, well, I'll just ping 2 or 3 damage every time I'm doing what I was going to do anyway. I think we saw it really didn't necessarily come to fruition very well. Or I'm not saying that Runeblade didn't win anything. It's just I don't think it was as good as at least I expected it to be originally. But as the game's progressed, no surprise there, we've had some very smart people figure out things, and one of them is this way of playing the deck. So just wanted to make sure we talked about that today. Kind of explained the strategy and the various pieces of it. And yeah, I think that's it. So let me know in the comments below. Please let me know if you have experience with it. Is there any other stuff I'm missing? Any other cool combos that you've come up with that really help do that turtle strike type mentality with Runeblade? So again, thanks guys for watching. If nothing else, go Commando.